So, My Hero Academia is on break, sorta, kinda. It's still pretty up in the air, but instead of doing a My Hero Academia chapter review today, instead, I'm going to do something new, something different. I'm going to be reviewing a different series of My Hero Academia because it's off. So, are you ready for it? Because I'm very excited, and we're about to get into it right after the intro. Hit it! Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew, 97 here, coming at you with another manga review. This time on My Hero Academia spin-off series. Yes, I'm actually going to be hopefully reviewing the My Hero Academia spin-off series titled My Hero Academia Team Up Missions. And this is very exciting because I just discovered this about a week or two ago from Shonen Jump app, and I realized, oh wow, there's another spin-off series for My Hero Academia. And when it comes to these spin-off chapters, for the most part, they're just team-up missions, little side stories that won't be covered in the actual My Hero Academia canon, but it's just very interesting, and the main premise of it is having characters that normally don't team up together, hence the word team up missions. And that's pretty much what these chapters are going to be. Just all of the heroes that we know, heroes that we learn about, potentially new heroes that we haven't seen for a while, or old heroes that are being introduced. We're going to be seeing more of them in these side stories just to get that fix on, oh, what if Bakugo teamed up with Zero? Or what if Uraraka teamed up with someone from Shiketsu High School? It's kind of like that type of thing, and I'm very excited to review it. And we're actually hopefully going to be doing 2 chapters in this review, because the first one that we're going to review is a prequel, and then the second one is going to be the actual Team Up Missions Chapter 1 proper. And before we get more into that, if you like this type of information, if you want me to do reviews for the other My Hero Academia Team Up Missions, leave a comment down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, do all of that cool stuff so that I know that you find this interesting. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So yeah, we start off with the prequel chapter, where we get the lady in charge of the Hero Public Safety Commission, and how she's basically giving a briefing to all the pro heroes in this auditorium room, wherever they are, about the state of the world and how their duty is to protect the public and to stop the villains, but we have to implement a new program to help the students, and we're calling it, they don't say what they call it, but judging by what the title of this chapter is, Team Up Missions, the prequel. Yeah, I think it is the introduction of the Team Up Missions, and this is very interesting because we got to see them basically beginning to dive a little bit more into it in this chapter. We have Hawks being Hawks, and basically it's like, are you sure that we should be doing this? I'm gonna go along with it, but is this really necessary? So you got the Hawks chiming in, but as the female head of the Hero Commission, she is basically explaining it to them. We don't get the explanation immediately, but we eventually get it from All Might, as we see that he and Aizawa are interacting with each other, and All Might notices a piece of paper that Aizawa dropped that is the participation form. And because it's All Might, he jumps to the conclusion of, oh no, he hasn't turned this in yet. Oh no, it's due at 5 p.m. today. Oh no, we have to turn it in immediately, ASAP. Well, I guess it's my job to do it. I'm off. So yeah, for the rest of this chapter, you just have All Might, Toshinori, basically being All Might and having this buzzer beater, like running to the clock, trying to turn in this piece of information, similar to like how you try to do your homework the night before for a major project. That's basically what he's doing right now. He's trying to hustle. He tries to get in the car, but then he sees a mugging and he tries to stop it, and then he gets stopped by his fans with heroes because, you know, he's All Might. And then he's like, oh right, this car won't be able to get me there in time. All right, I should probably run and run and run, doing all of this athletic stuff. Blood is squirting from my mouth because I cannot do all of this anymore. And he comes to the office and he realizes that it's closed. Yeah, unfortunately, this is where the actual chapter ends. They're unable to participate in the team-up missions because Aizawa was too late to turn it in. All Might couldn't turn it in for him. It's very sad, except for the fact that he was able to turn it in online. Yeah, Aizawa basically calls all by. He's like, yeah, I turned it in online. I just scanned it in and sent it in. So you did all that for nothing. But I'm glad you're motivated to do it. It's just you did it for nothing. And as All Might does All Might things, he jumped to conclusions. He jumped the gun, and he didn't need to. That's the All Might that we all know and love. So yeah, it was just a very comedic scene showing All Might being All Might and trying to basically like help in a situation that he really didn't need to help in. And then from here, that is where we get to the next day. And also something interesting that Aizawa basically brings up is like what I was saying. It's like, yeah, like we're here for you. Like you don't have to do everything on your own. That's why we're here. So yeah, tying into that idea that I was saying. But now we get the explanation of what these team-up missions are. As All Might basically introduces that you are now going to be participating in the team-up missions. And basically to sum it up is that the heroes are going, or specifically, the students are going to be working with other pro heroes as well as other students from other schools, and how they're basically going to do this so they get to know the quirks of the pro heroes as well as the quirks of their fellow students, not just at their school, but at other schools. So basically, it's just allowing for there to be building more connections between students so that they can know more about the other students' quirks, know more about the pro hero quirks, so they can basically be better heroes and perform better when they are teamed up with someone. Basically, the idea is once they become pro heroes, they'll already know a lot of pro heroes' quirks and already have connections with them, so they don't have to build them up from scratch. They'll already be started before they started the missions. And they bring up the idea, specifically Suyu brings up the idea, like, I wonder if we're going to be working with the Shiketsu and Ketsubutsu participants. I don't know why I made Suyu sound like that, but, ribbit. But yeah, they could potentially be working with them as well, which leads to a variety of team-ups in this mission. I'm going to get into chapter 1 because that's the one team-up mission that I really want to see, but everyone is issued their team-up missions as we get to the final pages of this chapter, where everyone is excited about their missions, who they're being teamed up with, except Deku, as we get this funny scene between both Shoto and Bakugo, where Bakugo is like, man, I'm stuck with them. As Shoto is like, hey, Bakugo, we could get teamed up. And Bakugo is like, ha, in your dreams. I don't know where that line is going to. That could just be like a reference to the fact that Shoto, Bakugo, and Deku eventually work together with Endeavor. That could be what we're going for. But yeah, at the end, everyone is having these feelings and they're preparing themselves for these new team-up missions. Also, in this chapter, at the end, we get a setup to a particular person visiting UA. I wonder who that is. We're gonna have to watch the next reviews and read the next chapter to find out. So yeah, that's the first part of the chapter, Team-Up Mission 0.1 prequel. And I really found this interesting, mainly due to the fact that it expands the Hero Academia portion of My Hero Academia, showing that the students are participating in programs that help them build themselves into better heroes by teaming up with heroes, teaming up with students, teaming up with pro heroes that they may not have normally teamed up with. So it gives them the ability to work with others. So this is just something cool, and I think this is what I really like about My Hero Academia. These sort of like side stories that really focus on the academia and really fleshes out the world, and showing that they are actually learning how to be heroes, how to be great heroes. And I just really find it interesting, and it just leads to like many ideas that many people have about like team-ups between X character Y and X character Z. It's very interesting, and I really liked it. And like I said, this is just a prequel for chapter 1, because in chapter 1, that's where stuff gets really good, in my opinion. But then there's like a one piece of thing that just bugged me a little bit, that kind of took me out. So let's actually go right into My Hero Academia Team-Ups Chapter 2 review. Overall, really enjoyed the prequel, and I hopefully will enjoy the Chapter 1. So now let's start off with My Hero Academia Team-Up Missions Chapter 1 proper, and we start off with Mission 1. The team-up mission begins as we got Deku, who's so excited. It's like, wow, I guess this is where our hero agency is. Come on, Uraraka, Kachan, let's go in. And obviously Kachan does the Kachan thing and blows him up. So yes, the first team up mission is going to be focusing on Deku, Uraraka, and Kachan. Realistically speaking, this is very interesting because we know for a fact that Deku and Uraraka have worked together, and technically Bakugo, it's basically a love triangle if you are into shipping. That's what this basically is. And you know what? I actually kind of like it because this is a cool dynamic that we haven't really seen in the show, the manga proper, having these three characters who have a connection with each other, who have literally fought against one another in like fights, actually working together as a team. And we do know that Kachan doesn't like to really work together with anyone, especially Deku. But this is just a cool setup for the mission, and it gets even better along the way. But before we get more into that, we actually have more of like a semi-flashback a few days prior to them teaming up, where we get the reintroduction of All Might telling them about the hero missions, the team-up missions, which is like pretty much like what I covered in the chapter 0.1 review. He basically says the same thing. They're going to be working with other hero agencies. They're going to be teaming up with other students that they may not know, get along, build team-up training. And once again, Tsuyu brings up Ribbit. I guess we're going to be working with Ketsubutsu as well, and Shiketsu. So yeah, they redo that all again, and we get like the confirmation of who they're going to be working with. Bakugo, Kachan, and Uraraka are going to be working together, to Kachan's dismay, but luckily enough, All Might has to come in and it's like, come on Bakugo, teamwork matters. And yeah, it does. So yeah, that's kind of like the prelude to this, but now they all get introduced into the fold of this particular individual's hero agency. And now, who is this person? We don't know. All we know is that their hero agency is apparently in a hotel, or that's where they're meeting. Everyone's wondering, like, who are we going to work with? Who are we going to be working with? But this person just walks in, is like, Midoriya, Uraraka, Bakugo, I take it. Oh, who is this person? I wonder. Oh gosh, it's Miracle. Oh yes. Oh yes, I know it was going to be Miracle ahead of time, but oh gosh, it's the rabbit hero, Miracle. A lot of people wanted Deku to work with Miracle, and this may not have happened in the story proper, especially with what we're seeing right now, but it's very cool to see Uraraka, Bakugo, and Deku working with the rabbit hero Miracle, and the fact that she has her own chapter, she's the first pro hero that we're actually seeing. This kind of shows how popular she is. And you know what? Nice. I really like her. She's probably one of my top 5 favorite characters now. And just seeing that she's getting her own chapter is amazing. So she basically gets introduced to everyone by Deku, because obviously the nerd would know everything about her. And that she's one of the very few, if not one of the only heroes, at least one of the heroes in the top 10, that doesn't have her own specific hero agency. She just goes around the country beating up people, where she responds with, wow, that's a great intro. Thanks, bud. And then Deku's like, all right, so we're going to work with you? No. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Mirko says, oh no, you're not going to be working with me, but you can follow me if you want. You can tag along. I'm just going to be fighting villains, and you're just going to be there. Cool? Cool. And she immediately comes by stopping a turtle villain by kicking them in the face. Hey, wait, I just realized. Turtle villain, Mirko, rabbit in the hair. Not rabbit in the hair, tortoise in the hair. Ah, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, she literally beats down this tortoise. And while she's doing that, you have Uraraka saving the balloon for a little kid that makes her swoon, because he's such an adorable little tyke, as Bakugo threatens to kill a lot of villains, as Deku is trying to control the situation as best as he can. But then he bumps into this particular individual wearing a face mask. If that isn't as topical as ever when we're talking about 2020, 2021. But yeah, he bumps into a kid wearing a face mask, and because they're in Japan, it's actually more commonplace, as Deku is trying to like, hey, are you okay? Are you a student? Like, what's going on? Do you need any help? And he's like, man, I'm so jealous of you being able to control your quirks. And he's like, you know what? Don't get close to me. I gotta go. Wow, that's weird and ominous. Why is there dark clouds forming around my head? Oh no, this person's going to be involved in something horrible, isn't he? Yeah, he's involved in something horrible. As we get the next few pages where they basically go over everything that has happened, and how Mirko was very impressed with Bakugo, and how he loves his like type of determination and his bloodlust towards villains. Which, you know, the fact that Miracle exists probably explains why, even though, like, Bakugo says, I'll kill you, die, die, die! Apparently people like that because she's number 5. So, you know, Bakugo could be a hero like that because Miracle as well as Endeavor exists. So, you know, die, die, die doesn't mean that you're not going to be a good villain. As well as she also praises Uraraka for her participation in helping out that young tyke, which is also very interesting. But what sucks is that she's like, oh, by the way, Deku, you did absolutely nothing, to the shock and chagrin of Deku. But now we're cutting back over to that masked individual as we see that he's just wandering the streets and he's like, I can't hold my quirk back, as he begins releasing this type of gas, this type of fog from his body that as soon as people inhale it, they pass out and hit the ground. And then immediately, as if everything is just coming together at once, the news that is weirdly enough being played at the same time that the heroes are talking about how well they did just a few moments later comes up on the news. It's like, a hazardous fog is coming into the area, be aware, it's maybe the attack of a villain, as they're like, all right, let's all jump in and kick them down, as now they're about to come in contact with this guy. And even Deku just comes to realization like, huh, maybe it was that one kid that I bumped into, as they also, he's like, oh, it's that one kid that I bumped into, as they look on the news and see that it's that kid. So now as heroes, they are going into the fray. They are trying to save civilians from the gas. Deku is using his Air Force quirk to knock away the gas to help with ease the people from being saved. And this ties into something that I really wanted to bring up when it comes to the team up missions, and it's the canonicity of the specific when they take place. Because something that I forgot to bring up is at the beginning of this chapter, we have basically All Might saying, since you all have your provisional licenses, you can all participate in the team up missions. This is implying that this has had to have happened after like My Villain Academia and after My Hero Academia, where they won Class 1A versus Class 1B. Probably should say spoilers, because this will most likely, the time frame is a little bit wonky, and when it comes to the side stories of My Hero Academia, they're all very wonky. Vigilantes may take place 5 years before the start of My Hero Academia. The movies, let's see, Two Heroes may takes place during the summer, before the summer camp arc, so that makes sense. But then you have like Heroes Rising, which it's weird, that could take place, it has to take place also after Bakugo and Shoto gets his provisional licenses. But then this also has to take place afterwards. But the only person that's in their like hero suit after the fact is Deku, because Bakugo and Uraraka are still in their older ones, but we got introduced to their new hero suits during the Class 1A, Class 1B arc. So it's very confusing, and I thought that I had it, but then I looked at Uraraka's costume, I realized it's her old one, and Bakugo isn't wearing her new one, and spoilers for another chapter, Bakugo is also wearing his new hero suit, so I'm so confused. I don't know the canon of this. All I'm going to assume is that it has to take place within between December and December, either right before Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku. Specifically, most likely this mission may take place right before Bakugo, Deku, and Shoto go on their internship with Endeavor, or it takes place after that, but before they head out in March to go with the Paranormal Liberation War. It has to take place during that time, because those are the only times where Shoto and Bakugo would have their provisional license. With that little rant over, let's get back into the review, because that bothered me while reading this, and that's something that kind of like takes away from this as well. We have Bakugo, Uraraka, and Deku find the source of this poison-like fog, as they realize that when it comes to this specific person, he may not have full control over the fog, because if you look into his eyes, he said you can see that he's jealous of other people's quirks. But then we get a little bit of confirmation for why that is. It's not that he wants their quirks, It's that he's unable to control it. And this is something that Deku really realizes, because he notices that as they're chasing him, he's trying to avoid crowded areas and stay in the back ways as closely as possible. And as Bakugo is about to land an explosive blow, as well as Mirko trying to land an explosive blow on him, Deku just comes to this realization like, oh, maybe this kid cannot take his quirk. Maybe his quirk isn't a good fit for him. Maybe he can't control it. So Deku has to step in and try and stop Bakugo from just hurting this innocent kid, as he basically expands like, yeah, I have an explanation for this. Yeah, he cannot control his quirk, and it's with his poison, he may be holding it in. He needs to release it, but by doing so, it's going to hurt people. We need to help this kid. It's not his fault. Because he can't use quirks, because you can't use your quirks in our society, he has no choice but to store the poison inside of his body. And once it reaches a certain point, it's just going to be released. So we have to help him. We have to make sure that this kid comes out safe. He's not a villain. He's just a cog in the machine. We have to help him. As this little kid, whoever he is, begins to break down, he's like, I want help. Help me. I'm not a villain. Just let me go. I'm at my limits. My own quirk is destroying my body. I have to let it go. And Deku was thinking like, what can I do? What can I do to help him? But weirdly enough, Deku doesn't come up with the solution. Bakugo does. Bakugo's like, oh, is that all? Then just let it out. And Mirko's like, what are you talking about? Are you giving a villain a hand now? And Kachu's like, no, I've got an idea. We could just let him release the gas, and I could just blow it up. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that sounds like a Bakugo idea. Let him release the gas up in the air and blow it up. You know what? Makes as much sense as ever. So now here's where the plan comes into action. Uraraka touches the guy. He begins to flow up into the air. High, high, higher, higher. And then he releases the poison gas. He's like, release it now! Release your stupid quirk! As Bakugo tells his kid to release his quirk, Deku's like, heroes don't just beat up villains. Heroes help people in trouble. And as he says that, we get this big double-page panel of Bakugo blowing up the entirety of this poison gas as this kid comes back to the ground safely, as he thanks the heroes for allowing him to release the poison that's in his body. And he thanks them. Unfortunately, because he did use his quirk unlawfully and did cause a lot of harm to people, he did get arrested. But luckily enough, they were able to explain the situation to the cops. And because of that, people are rallying behind him. And they're basically trying to get him a lighter sentence, because it's a quirk that he couldn't control unless he stored it in his body and he had to release it. So yes, that was the first team-up mission for My Hero Academia. But this chapter isn't over yet. By the way, this is like over 40 chapters. Gosh, I can only do one of these chapters at a time for a review. I'm never doing this again for 2 chapters. This is going to be a long video. But then at the end of the chapter, all we have is All Might saying, wow, your first mission as kids. Man, wasn't it great? By the way, here's another one. There you go. As All Might basically tells them, here's another mission. And that's pretty much it. You have Deku and a few other characters opening up their letters to see who they're going to be teamed up with this time. At the end of this chapter, we get a conclusion similar to the first chapter of My Hero Academia, where you have the narrator, most likely Deku, saying, oh, by the way, this is a side story of how we become heroes. And then that's it. That's it. That's My Hero Academia Team Up Missions Chapter 1 and Chapter 0.1. Overall, I find these chapters to be very enjoyable. Are they necessarily like amazing chapters with the best writing and with the continuity that ties directly into My Hero Academia? Not necessarily, but they're just really fun chapters to read. Getting to see different characters interact with each other, getting to see their communication. Like I said, we got to see Deku team up with Mirko, and sure, he didn't learn a whole lot from Mirko, but the fact that they teamed up in the first place was really amazing, as well as his team up with Bakugo and Uraraka. That's really cool. And just seeing like the prequel for it and how, for the most part, it's set up because the state of hero society is in flux, and that they need to like make sure that because they lost the symbol of peace, that they have to have someone or a whole lot of people basically make up for that. So instead of just having one pillar, having multiple pillars, and that's the purpose of the team up missions. So just for the most part, it's just what if scenarios. And there's nothing wrong with one-if scenarios, and even if they tie into, or don't tie into My Hero Academia proper, I still find them very interesting and entertaining. So yeah, that's basically what they are, just fun and entertaining stories. So overall, that's my thoughts on my review of the My Hero Academia team-up missions. Really liked them, really enjoyed them, just fun reading in a manga form. That's all I can really say. So hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you enjoyed the chapters. If you want to read the chapters yourself, they are on Shonen Jump. It's a very great app. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was, but it's just a very good app. I use it whenever I make my videos, do my reviews, do my reactions. Very great. Really enjoy the app. And it's only like $3 a month, and you get access to all of the chapters that are released, new chapters that will eventually be released, as well as the entire catalog for Shonen Jump. Hashtag not sponsored, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Leave a like in this video if you did. If you like my type of content, subscribe to my YouTube channel, BigBlueDrew97. Leave your thoughts down below. Do you like these team-up missions? Do you like My Hero Academia going to more side stories, or do you just want them to stick to only canon material? Leave your thoughts down below, and without the way, hopefully I can catch you guys in my next video. Goodbye. Huh?